Land reform is therefore fundamental to the eradication of poverty. It is fundamental to restoring the dignity of all South Africans, to foster reconciliation and to forge national unity. It is for this reason that this government, guided by the resolutions of the 54th National Conference of the governing party, is undertaking measures to accelerate the redistribution of land, the extension of security of tenure, the provision of agricultural support, and the redress of spatial inequality. We need to unlock the economic potential of this country's land. If ownership, tenure, and the use of this country's land remains restricted to a small minority as it is today, we will never realize the contribution it can make to the growth and development of our economy. If poor people cannot own property, the most prized possession of any household is a house or a piece of land property. And if they cannot own a property and live close to the economic centers of our towns and cities, the cost of living will forever remain as high as the cost of looking for a job. That is why we must use every means at our disposal to make this happen. We have no other choice, and in fact, on our side, it is a historic duty and responsibility to restore the imbalances of the past. That is why we will not relent in our determination to use, yes, expropriation without compensation as one of the mechanisms to effect land reform. We do so understanding that expropriation without compensation is not an end in itself, but a means to an end. As we must therefore use it, we must therefore use it in a manner that advances the objectives of meaningful, radical, and sustainable land redistribution. Madam Speaker, during the debate yesterday, both the Honorable Maimane and Honorable Malema introduced into this House a figure that is known as a straw man. The dictionary definition of a straw man is an intentionally misrepresented proposition that is set up because it is easier to defeat than an opponent's real argument. The Ramaphosa definition of a straw man is a fake policy conjured up by a desperate party in order to make a false claim. Both Honorable Maimane and Honorable Malema have sought to misrepresent the position of the ANC on the issue of expropriation of land. However, if you go through the resolutions of the ANC's 54th conference, its January 8th statement, the State of the Nation address, replies to questions in this House and recommendations of the ANC's recent land workshop, there is a clear and consistent thread. We will not be diverted from the path we are on. We will not shy away from engaging in debate. We will engage, we will consult, and we will seek to build consensus. But we will not compromise on our determination to resolve the land question in this country once and for all. You are therefore invited to join us in this effort to make sure that the decisions that are taken are decisions that are owned by the people of this country. The restoration of the land to the poor and dispossessed through a constitutionally mandated program of redress and reform is a revolutionary act. The illegal occupation of land is not. We must remind ourselves why we have a constitution and why we value the rule of law. It is to protect the poor and the vulnerable from the arbitrary exercise of power, to prevent a repeat of the abuses and the violations of the past. Our Constitution is an instrument of radical transformation. We should treasure it, we should safeguard it, and we should use it to achieve fundamental social and economic change. A number of speakers also, Madam Speaker, touched on the crucial issue of governance and the need to build a capable and developmental state. Some honorable members would have us believe that this is simply a matter of the size of the cabinet. It is, I regret to say, much more than that. The reconfiguration of the state is a far greater and more ambitious undertaking that must go to the heart of the capacity of government to meet the country's developmental needs. We need to address issues of structure, not just of national departments, but of all spheres and all public institutions. We also need to address issues of efficiency, effectiveness, as well as resource allocation. Not only must we end all fruitless, wasteful, irregular, and unauthorized expenditure, but we must also make sure that the money we budget is allocated to programs that have the greatest beneficial impact. Budgeting is about making choices. We need to have the capacity, the data, and the political will to make the right choices. As Minister Dlamini Zuma said, we are working to establish an institutional framework to integrate planning across government and ensure alignment between national, provincial, local government planning and other sectors. We are working to improve our capacity to monitor and evaluate the work of all areas of the state, and to employ the great advances that have been made in information technology to better understand and analyze the wealth of data that is available about our country and its people. We need to address, yes, the culture of government. It has been several years since we introduced the Batupele principles, but adherence to these principles is inconsistent. The vast majority of public servants are very, very conscientious. They are honest and committed. But in too many parts of the state, the experience of our people leaves a lot to be desired. That is why we are working to do things differently, to promote efficiency, to encourage a culture of performance, and to find opportunities for public servants to deepen their skills as well as their experience. We have heard honorable members describe the situation in many of our frontline departments, those that provide essential services to our citizens. There are indeed areas of great concern, and these areas are matters that we want to prioritize. Our health system is truly under great strain. As the Minister of Health has said, the Public Health Service takes care of 80% of the people in the country, including large numbers of immigrants. We have nevertheless managed to initiate 4 million people on HIV antiretroviral treatment, deliver more than 1 million babies a year, and provide treatment to 300,000 people with tuberculosis